Welcome back to the Call on Your Bluff podcast. I'm in the studio with the boys.
What up?
What up?
What up?
Just yesterday, we had some pretty sad news, at least to me. One of the fan favorites for the New Orleans Saints got traded for a Diet Cola and a bag of chips. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, the king of the memes for the New Orleans Saints. So I don't really agree with the trade, but it's a business and there's a reason behind everything. Apparently, he wasn't being a real team player and wasn't being very coachable. So I guess it's, best that they did what they had to do. He could have been a locker room cancer. So, and unfortunately, we're having some more problems at the safety position the day after. But Braden, what are your thoughts on that trade?
Well, like you said, it's a business, and it's just kind of what it is. What it is. We don't know what goes on behind the scenes. Nick Underhill reported that he was doing what they call a hold in instead of a hold out. So he was going to practice, but he wasn't actually practicing. He was just kind of standing there. Pretty much because of the salary that they were offering him. And at one point, early on, he had a minor injury, and they apparently got up, and he was yelling about, this is what y'all wanted. Y'all didn't want to pay me. This is what y'all wanted. Y'all don't have to pay me now. So I feel like stuff like that is the reason why we got to this point, and we traded him out of nowhere to us, but for them, it's probably been a long time coming.
He's not that good in order, to deal with that kind of stuff.
Well, yeah, you don't want to deal with that in a place like New Orleans where they're known to have a really good locker room culture, a really good culture in general. And, that just brings the whole team down. Even if you have one bad apple, then it could be the difference between winning like 4 or 5 games or losing 4 and 5 games. Right. You never know. So I would rather cut ties with somebody like that, give some of our other guys a chance, than to keep somebody who doesn't really even want to be here anymore.
Yeah. I feel like he kind of tanked his value, with all that. And, the locker room was probably divided a little bit after he started acting out. And, I kind of get it on his part. He wants to be paid, wants a long-term deal. But, and he's a fan favorite, so obviously we would have liked to see it work out. But, we've had cap issues the last 2 years, having to restructure a lot. So, at some point, we're going to have to make hard decisions like this. And, just hopefully guys like Alontae Taylor can step up, into his role. But, we had guys like Honey Badger and Marcus May. They fill in those roles nicely anyways. So.
Do we have Marcus May, though?
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, what is it? Aggravated assault with a weapon or something like that?
Yeah, some pointed a gun at some juvenile girls. I don't know how true it is. He's denying everything.
That's like from the police report.
Yeah.
So they put out a warrant for his arrest after this happened, but he got, I guess, mad in traffic. I don't know. It was a road rage incident. Apparently, he waved a gun at a car filled with several female juveniles. And I quote,
"That's aggravated assault, though."
With a firearm.
Well,
apparently, if
gun.
He didn't assault
him.
Yeah, he had the tool on him.
That's frowned upon.
He
probably pointed it at him.
Well, the moment that
scary
gun comes out, he might as well use it at that point. That's what you're saying you're gonna do.
No, he had a DWI, didn't he? That he's waiting to have a hearing for as well.
Yeah, this can't help. I feel like at this point he's going to get suspended. Maybe not this season, kind of like Kamara, but it's coming for sure. This doesn't look good at all.
Just another name on the long list of Saints players who have criminal backgrounds.
Nah.
The Ravens are known for it too. So
I feel like the Saints are about the average in the NFL when it comes to. There's a lot of bad fellas out there committing
How hard
crimes.
is it to act right?
When you make millions.
Especially when you make millions. I mean, we act right and we're just regular old
Well, I
people.
mean, I think part of it's like, no matter how much money you make, it kind of depends on where you grew up and how you grew up.
Who you are.
Yeah, and like people don't think about it, but most of these guys are still like super young guys, like in our age group.
Yeah.
So they're not like they're in the spotlight and they're adults, so people expect them to make all the right decisions. But at the end of the day, they're young and they have a ton of money. Like it almost makes you dumber when you have all that
Well,
money.
they feel like they're untouchable.
Yeah.
Like they can do whatever they want.
I mean, I can't honestly say how I would act if I had millions of dollars. You know.
I mean, I don't think I would point a gun at somebody.
Yeah,
If I'm
no.
in traffic, I might flip them off or something.
Yeah.
Or honk at
Yeah,
them.
I didn't mean like specifically point a gun
Right,
at someone.
but, I mean, like,
Easy brain.
Yeah, I would change though. You know, that's
dudes that get pulled over with, freaking 2 or 3 guns and a pound of pot. Like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
Really? Like, how?
that is, you're right about them feeling untouchable, because like, and a lot of those guys do get out of situations like that we never hear about,
Right.
because they're a top NFL player or whatever.
This guy's not an NFL player, but Amon Shumpert used to play in the NBA.
Mhm.
He literally, I don't know what airport he went to, but he was trying to get to LA to, quote, pick up his daughter, and he literally brought a suitcase to TSA and was like, hey, I have this in here. It was like some weed or something like that. Like, he was like, this is in here. And like,
Expecting to get away from
yeah,
it.
he just thought it was cool because like he was like, I'm Amon Shumpert. Like,
Yeah, I wonder how many
And
times before that he got away with
they
it.
literally arrested his ass in the airport.
Yeah.
So
Not the
I wonder
smartest
who
guy in the
I
world.
wonder who picked up his daughter though.
I don't know.
It's kind of unfortunate.
Yeah.
I don't know.
She figured out a way to get home.
Well, I mean, at that point, you're gonna walk up to somebody and expect them to give you a pass on having drugs in your suitcase at an airport. I mean, you're kind of asking for it at that point. I mean, you can't expect everybody to give you a free pass, but I mean, I guess that goes back to thinking that they have all the power and that they're untouchable.
Yeah.
But another interesting thing is this weekend we're going to see who's going to be starting at quarterback for the Tigers.
Yeah.
So who do y'all see starting?
I have no idea, man. I really don't, because this is, I think, the first time in our lives where we've had a coach that keeps it super tight-lipped on everything, not just quarterback situation, but everything. It's hard to figure out who's going to be doing what. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see at least in the first couple games, see like almost like a 2-quarterback system. Both of them seeing significant snaps during the game.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. That I don't even know how to answer it, because I have no knowledge of how they're doing.
If you had to answer, who's going to take the first snap at quarterback? Who would you say?
I would say Jaden Daniels, just based off of the reports from like a couple weeks ago. Like the same day that Brennan transferred or retired, there was reports that Jaden Daniels was going to be the starter, which afterwards he was like, no, it hasn't been named yet, and then they kind of backed off. But I feel like there might be some insider knowledge, and maybe they did make that decision a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see Brian Kelly walking up to one of them on game day and saying, on game day, hey, you're the starter. Like,
Well, I think
Apparently
he said
the players don't know yet.
no. I think the players do know. I think
As of like 2 days ago, they asked BJ Ojolari, and he said that none of the team knows.
yeah. I thought I'm probably wrong. I thought I saw a report it might have been yesterday or 2 days ago that said they know inside, but they're not coming out with it.
I think the coaches know,
Yeah.
but they haven't told the team because like there's no way they could tell everybody but the quarterbacks and expect the quarterbacks not to find out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not
But-
say anything.
But I feel like they would have to know, because if they're game planning for Florida State, how are you gonna like not know or not tell a team who their starting quarterback is and then run with the ones? Like, you can't. It's different in fall camp. You can run like multiple guys with the ones to get a look, but in game week, you have to have the one with the ones. You know?
Yeah, and I feel like they have to know here soon, because I seen a report about how the players were saying Brian Kelly's game plan is very elaborate,
Yeah.
and there's almost nothing left out. So I feel like
Wait,
if you're going to have a new starting quarterback and you're going to have Jaden Daniels, there's going to be a little difference in plays rather than if Nussmeier's starting.
well, and that whole they were saying it's nothing like we've seen before.
Yeah.
That's kind of what gives me that thought, like maybe there's a 2 quarterback system in
Yeah.
place.
I think it's gonna be Nussmeier, honestly.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm gonna be happy with either.
I honestly would not be surprised, and I very well could be wrong, and it could be Jaden Daniels, but I see it being Nussmeier.
Yeah.
I feel like he's a more what's the word? You can trust him more. Like complete. Jaden Daniels maybe he poses a bigger threat to defenses just because he can run too, but I feel like
Well, I mean, when he had weapons around him his first year at Arizona State,
Yeah, he had Brandon Ayuk.
yeah,
his
and I
first year.
mean, he played good,
Yeah.
So, and they're saying that we have some really good talent at receiver, so
I mean, we have Keishon Butte, who's
Yeah.
probably
But young
arguably the
talent,
best
too.
receiver in the country.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I
Only a
feel
few
like
days left.
Jaden Daniels is going to start, but kind of going back to the point of nobody knowing, I feel like all the coaches and players both know. And, Brian Kelly's known to keep a tight-lipped program and, keep everything very clean and nothing gets out. So I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I feel like it would be hard for a team, a premier college team, to not know who their starting quarterback was on the inside, for a whole week leading up to game day.
Yeah.
So, but, who knows? I mean, they might genuinely not know. I don't know.
I think a bigger thing about it is this is like really the first few years of the NIL and transfer portal and all that stuff. So now you have to worry about if you start Jaden Daniels, what if Nussmeier's like, hey, I'm getting out of here. I want to play next year, which he still could. He still could be the starter next year, but Jaden Daniels has 2 years left, and everybody thinks he would bounce if he has a great year this year. But what if it's not that great?
yeah.
But he comes in next year as a starter, and then besides that, you have Walker Howard, who's redshirting this year. What if him and Nussmeier are in a quarterback battle next year?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like in Nussmeier's position, if he's not the starter this year at all, it's probably going to get to the point where he's like, hey, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
I have to.
I think
Yeah.
either way, no matter who ends up starting this year, somebody's going to leave.
Yeah.
I mean, we have 3, really talented quarterbacks on our roster, and they're going to want to play, like you said. So it don't really matter who starts. Somebody's going to leave. It's
I
bound
feel
to
like
happen.
Daniels has the least chance of leaving. I mean, already transferring once, but also a lot of guys that are as athletic as he is, they kind of start focusing on other positions after that. Like if they figure out like, hey, I'm not gonna make it to the NFL as a quarterback, I'm gonna go as a wide receiver or running back or whatever, or even like a kick returner.
Yeah.
That's what Braxton Miller did a few years back. He was like a Heisman candidate at quarterback, but then he figured out like, hey, I have J.T. Barrett, Dwayne Haskins, like all these guys behind me.
Joe Burrow.
Yeah, and then Burrow was like a freshman, I think.
Hey, he
but-
was a young goat in the making.
yeah.
Yeah.
But he figured out like I'm 5'11", I'm super fast. I don't really have the intangibles to play quarterback in the NFL. So he switched to wide receiver in college and actually played like 4 or 5 years. I don't think he's on a team anymore, but he played 4 or 5 years as a wide receiver in the NFL. So I could see Daniels doing something like that if he doesn't win out.
Yeah.
I feel like we have a good problem to have. Though.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
you think of like the Ohio States and Georgias and Bamas who have buku quarterbacks coming in, and they always have big transfers. I mean, I feel like that's actually a good problem to have. Actual quarterback talent year in and year out. So it'll be interesting though.
Yeah.
Definitely excited for the season. Did y'all see what Nick Saban said about
Brian
LSU?
Kelly?
Specifically Brian Kelly.
Yeah.
He said it's a job. Basically, it's a job that everyone wants to have. Like Louisiana fans are some of the best, and LSU's always had great personnel, but now they have a great coach too.
Yeah.
So it's pretty exciting to hear as a fan coming from a guy like Nick Saban.
For how much a lot of Louisiana people hate Saban because of his leave from LSU to go to the Dolphins and then going to Bama after that. Nick Saban has never talked bad about LSU. Even in his he had a documentary I think last year or the year before, and there was a whole 5 or 6 minutes where he's talking about LSU and how great his time was there.
Right.
And he even said he regretted leaving for the Dolphins job then. So
those people are just mad because he's not our coach anymore.
well, yeah. Well, and a lot of those people don't really keep up with it that much, so they just see oh, he was an LSU coach, but now he's at Bama.
Yeah,
I hate him.
Fuck him.
And I feel like Saban misses having a fan base like us because you look at Bama fans and it's just a bunch of douchey bandwagoners that wouldn't have liked Bama if they didn't win 7 championships in a row. So
I hate Bama with a passion, but I love Saban.
You can't argue that he's the greatest college football coach of all time.
Yeah,
it sucks that it's happening at Bama, but I love Saban as a coach. I just hate Bama.
Yeah.
So
He wasn't a good NFL coach, but he is, I would say, the best college football coach of all time.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see anyone that compares to him.
No,
Bear Bryant maybe, but I mean, I think at this point,
Saban's
surpassed them.
Yeah, Saban's definitely surpassed them.
And who knows how much longer he's going to coach too. I mean, he could still be coaching for a very long time and just add more.
He had a comment the other day saying he was going to coach until he died or something like that, and he's 70 or something.
He's 70.
He's up there.
Damn.
Either late 60s but that means he could probably coach for at least another 10 years.
Yeah.
Did y'all see he extended to 2027, 2028 this year?
I didn't know that.
So he has a clause in his contract. If another SEC coach, re-signs or whatever, or gets hired by a program and makes $3 million more than him, he can instantly restructure with Bama and get paid more.
Well, he's already getting paid him.
Yeah. So
bunch.
the past 2 years, he's already restructured because, coaches that are being brought into the SEC getting paid more initially, and then Saban just
So basically, in his contract, it's saying, no matter what, you're going to be the highest paid SEC coach.
Yeah. Or highest paid college coach.
Yeah.
It might not just be SEC, it might be college in general.
Yeah.
But it's kind of crazy. I mean, that's basically a lifetime contract.
It's only right though.
Yeah, I mean, it deserves it.
Yeah.
But another thing, we'll kind of get away from the local sports. Brian Robinson recently got shot.
He got popped.
Yeah, a few times. I'm sure some Antonio Gibson fantasy owners are, I wouldn't say happy. I wouldn't be happy for somebody getting shot, but they might feel a little better about drafting Antonio Gibson now. But I did see some things that he's still optimistic about coming back pretty early in the season.
No, he'll be back soon. And honestly, I mean, I think temporarily they might use Gibson as RB1, but there was several reports coming out, about a week ago that Brian Robinson was RB1. Antonio Gibson was kind of transitioning into a kickoff returner role. So I feel like at first they might kind of throw Gibson in there just to give Brian Robinson some time, but once he's back healthy, I feel like he's RB1.
Yeah. From today, it sounds like it's still going to take him a few weeks to recover. So he gets off the NFI list, which is non-football injury. He gets off by week 5, but they're saying he might not come back to like week 7 or week 8, but that's still pretty good for getting shot.
Where was he shot at?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
I think his butt and his leg, but I think so. From what I read, he got shot in like the knee, which is like really bad because there's a bunch of ligaments and stuff in there that you need to run. But it sounds like he got grazed in the knee because it didn't hit anything that was like important.
Yeah.
So, which is like, if you look at the structure of the knee, it's impossible to get shot in the knee and not damage something important.
Yeah.
So, I think no report said he outright got grazed in the knee, but that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
So, and then getting shot in the butt's pretty much it's not a big deal. I mean, it's such a big muscle. It's like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, he got really lucky. It's kind of crazy that he was already back in the commander's facility not even 2 days after. Like, they had videos of all the coaches, saying hey to him and all that. But walking on crutches 2 days after leg surgery and all that, I mean, it must not be too bad. I mean, it would be pretty hard to, already be on crutches 2 days after, if it was a serious leg injury. So yeah, I'm sure by mid-season he'll probably be practicing again at the least. May not be full 100% speed, but I think he's going to come back this year for sure.
You wonder if Antonio Gibson is behind all this.
Wouldn't be surprised.
Like Chris was saying, he got bumped down the depth chart, and
Put a hit on him.
And J.D. McKissick's their backup, their pass catching back. So what role would have that left Gibson after that? Like kick returner, but what dude wants to go from starting running back 1 year, presumably the starting running back this year, to kick returner? So it just seems a little sketchy that literally like there was a report that confirmed Brian Robinson was going to start. And literally 4 hours later is when it came out that he got shot. The same day. There was already like rumors, pretty much confirmed rumors before that. But the official report came out the same day that he got shot. 4 hours.
So there it is.
Yeah.
Antonio Gibson puts a hit on Brian Robinson.
Wouldn't that be wild if it actually came out?
Oh my god.
Like Antonio Gibson.
That's like a 30 for 30 right there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That'd be out next year. Yeah.
Well, what about the Baker comments? Is he gonna fuck up the Browns?
I think he will. I mean, nothing had to come out for people to know that there's definitely some motivation going into that game. I mean, they literally they shit on him like while he was still on the team. They're like, fuck you, bro. We want Deshaun. Like, even though he's a rapist or whatever you want to call it, like we want Deshaun. Like we're not rocking with you anymore.
I don't know, dude. I mean,
so like he wants to like obliterate them.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll happen though. Honestly,
You don't?
no. I don't.
It's so hard to tell. I mean, are we gonna get
What version of Baker are we getting?
exactly? Are we gonna get 25 for 28 with 400 yards, Baker? Or are we gonna get 11 of 30 for 180 yards and 4 touchdowns or 4 picks?
Yeah.
But the thing about Baker though is, I think the Browns just kind of ruined him a little because, well, they ruined his like public persona, like what people think about him, because his rookie year he was like really good, and then the next year he was hurt, had a bad year, then he bounced back in 2020, had a really good year in 2020, and then last year he injured his I think it was his left shoulder, so it was his non-throwing shoulder. Well, people don't realize that you need your whole body, especially your other shoulder,
Your lead shoulder,
to rotate, and all that. Well, the whole passing mechanics. So his passing mechanics were off. Had a bad year. I'm thinking a fully healthy Baker is at least an above-average NFL quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, you can say what you want about the guy, but you can't not respect him. I mean, literally, even looking at what he did before he got in the NFL, like obviously he could have had a better career thus far in the NFL, but for a guy to walk on at 2 major Division I programs, win the job, win the Heisman, get drafted number 1 overall, I mean, he's...
And having like 3 different coaches in 4 years,
exactly.
basically.
He's a dude.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw a tweet that said Baker with a chip on his shoulder, you might get the best game of his career or the worst game.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, he can be a little wishy-washy sometimes, but it's kind of funny too, because Browns fans, just everything I see on like kind of looking at Browns fans on Twitter and Reddit and all that, they don't like Deshaun at all. Like they hate that their team, paid all that money to a rapist, basically.
That's going to be suspended for 11 games.
Yeah, and they just don't. They like Baker, so
Shit, at least it's not all year.
yeah.
Like
But
it should be.
yeah, but they're just not happy with his allegations, and most people think he did it, especially
Yeah.
Browns fans. So, but yeah, so a lot of them are still rooting for Baker, so it's definitely going to be interesting for sure.
Yeah. I guess we can go to surprise cuts in the NFL. There weren't a lot of surprises, but there were a few that kind of caught me off guard. And I'll start with Marlon Mack on the Texans. I mean, he was supposed to be the starter at running back this year. Then Damian Pierce came in, had a great camp, great preseason. They bumped him to RB1. But it's really weird that they cut Marlon Mack, who could have been a great backup. I'm thinking they have Rex Burkhead, who's more their receiving back, who's going to play a lot behind Damian Pierce, but you still need another guy in there. Most teams run 3 running backs every game, even if a couple of them only get a few carries. I mean, you still need at least 3 good running backs on a team to have a successful run game. So it's just kind of weird to me how they immediately cut them in the final cuts. I don't know.
Yeah, one that surprised me was Giants' Blake Martinez. He led the team in tackles last year.
Yeah.
And I know he tore his ACL. That might have something to do with why he's being cut. Maybe his performance isn't what it was last year. But they actually worked out a contract restructure in the spring, and today, about 2 hours ago, he was released.
Wow.
So I wonder what's going on there. Maybe his after he rehabbed, his knee isn't the same. But they said that I'm seeing something right here. It's saying that it was a mutual decision. He was excused from practice Wednesday and then returned today, and the decision was deemed best for both parties.
Like you were just saying, he led the team in tackles last year, which is true, but at the same time, he is not a good starting linebacker, and I think he wants to be a starting linebacker somewhere. Maybe the Giants were going in a different direction, but in pass coverage at linebacker, he is arguably the worst starting linebacker when it comes to pass coverage in the NFL. Which, I mean, he obviously can make the tackle. He's really good shedding blocks, stopping the run. But if you have a guy out there who can do that, but he can't cover the pass, it's still a liability. So from what you just said with that report that it was mutual, I'm thinking they were trying to decrease his role, and he was like, no, I want to be a starter somewhere, which he might be.
Yeah.
My surprise cut is from the Colts, Phillip Lindsay.
Yeah.
Colts are running 3 running backs. They've obviously got Jonathan Taylor, Naheem Hines, and they chose to go with an undrafted free agent, Deion Jackson, who he was in the second half of last season in his rookie year. But I guess they see more promise out of Deion Jackson than Phillip Lindsay. I mean, I know he's not what he was in Denver, but it's kind of odd.
Yeah, that's very surprising to me.
Well, ever since his rookie year, he's kind of been bouncing around. He's been in the league for 4 or 5 years now.
Something
but
like that.
he joined the Texans, and I believe No, I think he went from Broncos to Texans, but his second year with the Broncos, he like completely fell off. So it's almost like his rookie year was kind of a fluke.
Well, he had 2 1,000-yard seasons
Yeah.
in the NFL.
Yeah, maybe I'm thinking of his third then, but yeah, he fell off
Right.
with the Broncos. But
He dealt with some injuries though.
he's another guy. He's really good at just, he's like a one-cut back. He can find the hole, get a few yards running, but he's not a good pass-catching back. So I'm thinking his style of running just isn't suitable in the NFL anymore.
Yeah.
You have to be a one-cut back who's just pretty much a runner, not doesn't add any receiving value. You pretty much have to be like Derrick Henry or Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
After that, like you're not going to stick around long if you don't have the receiver skills too.
Yeah. I think my surprise cut is Trey Sermon on the 49ers.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, third round pick last year. He only had like 170 yards on the year. Only played 9 games though. He dealt with a lot of injuries. But as a fantasy owner last year, I remember he wasn't in with the coaches very well. I mean, they didn't play him a lot. He was healthy scratch for a couple games too. So obviously they wanted to go with Eli Mitchell, and it worked out, last year. But I thought he had a chance to be the backup at the very least this year, being a young running back on a rookie contract. Mm-hmm. So Eagles picked him up already. I mean, it wasn't even a day after. So,
The Eagles are making some moves.
Yeah, I think he's going to back up Miles Sanders or, even start potentially if he fits in with their system. So
Yeah.
I was a little surprised about that with him just being a third rounder last year, but 49ers kind of do things different with their run game, switching running backs like every year. So
Yeah. Well, they have Eli Mitchell, who's supposed to be like their every down guy, but
yeah,
they also have Jeff Wilson as the RB2 right now, which he's pretty good in that role. And then they drafted Tyrion Davis-Price in the third round this year.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So, I mean, like you were saying, he didn't. The coaches, he had a problem with them. He was a healthy scratch a few games last year, but also in the limited time that he did play, he didn't look that good. So I'm thinking he just he might be a bust. You know, you said he could end up being the starter in Philly. I don't ever see that happening unless Miles Sanders, I don't know.
He's kind of
retires.
injury issues. So.
Yeah, but they still have Kenneth Gainwell, who's a pretty good backup, and Boston Scott behind him, which they already used both of them a lot because of Miles Sanders' injury history. So
what do you think they picked up Trey Sermon for, though?
I thought he was practice squad, right?
I don't know for sure. He might be.
I'm pretty sure he's a practice squad guy right now.
Yeah.
So. And if he's not, he's RB4 right now. Not saying he can't come back, but it seems like he has character issues to be a healthy scratch a lot last year, and he just hasn't looked that productive so far.
Yeah, it's probably special teams at best if he's active.
It is surprising though, because last year I remember before the season he was supposed to he was in the running to be the starter week 1, and then all of a sudden he was healthy scratch.
And he had a good preseason last year, so I was a little surprised.
There was a lot of hype last year as a rookie, so yeah, as a second-year guy, it is surprising to be cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I hate to change the subject real quick, but it's something we talked about earlier. Verified account says Brian Kelly says the LSU team has been told who the starting QB is going to be for Sunday's game, and this was 59 minutes ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
they have to, though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Thursday. Yeah.
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 They really have to.
3 days away.
Yep.
Basically Friday. I mean,
I feel like I mean, it didn't come out in the news, but I feel like by Monday they knew, or maybe Tuesday, but
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Because that's usually when they start the game plan, or really start the game plan on Monday or Tuesday. Mm-hmm. So by then they had to have known something.
Yeah, it'd be pretty cool just as a fan, if they didn't say anything all day Sunday or Saturday, and
they just trot somebody out.
Yeah, we just didn't even know till the first play.
I kind of want to know though, you know.
Yeah, at the same time, but
I like Brian Kelly's style of not really giving anything away though, because Florida State doesn't have a clue who to game plan for right now. So.
Yeah, it's gonna make it harder on them. They got a game plan for both.
Yeah.
Well, we can get into Aaron Donald.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
he's a madman.
Yeah, Myles Garrett almost went to jail over Mason Rudolph, but Aaron Donald can swing 2 helmets in practice, and it was pretty loud, dude. Like in the video, you can hear that helmet hitting him. Like, what if he would have hit somebody in the head without a helmet on?
Yeah. Well,
you could potentially kill somebody.
Right or wrong, the NFL currently they don't have any restrictions against anything like that in practice.
So you can just beat the shit out of people.
Pretty much. You'd have to do,
especially if you're Aaron Donald.
You'd have to do some serious damage to get suspended from a practice. So it's I mean, the helmets obviously is a big issue, especially after the Myles Garrett primetime situation. But there's been a lot of incidents like this in years past. Maybe not with helmets, but gigantic fights, helmets coming off, punches being thrown. So it's funny, honestly, just because of what it did happen 2 years ago on primetime TV.
Yeah,
and you see arguably the GOAT defensive player doing it in practice, but
swinging 2 of them hoes around.
I mean, it'll just stay a meme. You know, he's not going to see any repercussions from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we all know that NFL loves the Rams. So,
dude, Aaron Donald's a hothead, man. I can't tell how many times I've seen him get into it in the games, and it's almost like he doesn't get any. It's just a meme to everybody. Like he gets no backlash. Is that because he's like like you said, arguably the best defensive lineman in the NFL?
He backs it up with his play. I mean, people are putting him above Lawrence Taylor as GOAT defensive player now because
he strikes me as a wife beater, man.
I think it's just part of his play style. Like it's almost like he still has like that high school mentality. Like, I just want to kill everybody in front of me. I want to blow up every play. A lot of guys in the NFL lose that because they've been playing for so long. They know they're good. They know everybody else is good. They just want the money. They want the paycheck. It's not really like they don't have that grit anymore. Mm-hmm. But he's kept it. He still has that grit. Like he has something to prove. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he is considered undersized.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. Big man.
He is technically he's swole, obviously, like ripped and all that. But he is only 6 foot tall at defensive line. I mean.
But that helps him though.
Yeah,
like leverage.
Yeah, it helps him, but it ruins a lot of other guys because they just can't compete with the size. I mean, you're going up against dudes that are 6'6" who have a way bigger reach advantage. Like people talk about reach in boxing, but you also need reach in football. Mm-hmm. Reach is a big deal on the line in football.
Yeah, you like long offensive linemen.
So, but it does help him just because of how fast he is, that he can just get under people, and how strong he is for his size. I mean, he's arguably he's a top 10 strong man in the NFL right now. So
strong man.
Yeah.
What is he, like 260 with abs?
Yeah. He's like ripped.
Yeah.
Well, also just thinking about camp, the Panthers and Patriots. They were fighting all week before their preseason game, and they actually injured a fan.
What?
a fight spilled out into the stands, and a fan dropped and hurt his leg or something. But it was like a younger fan. But
that was like every day of their
didn't
practice.
Mac Jones didn't he have a good run or whatever, and he told the defense to hold his nuts?
Yeah, it was so like
bitch.
Bro, I would not be scared of Mac Jones, honestly.
I don't.
He's a good quarterback, but he's so tubby.
Yeah, something about him just makes me not like him. I don't know what it is. He has this like It's like he has this frat boy energy. You
Yeah.
know? He's good. He's good. He's a good quarterback, but
I mean,
I
he
don't
looks
know.
younger than us, and he's a starting quarterback in the NFL.
it's the way he carries himself
looks out
makes
of
you
shape,
makes you
so-
not want to like him.
Yeah.
You know.
It honestly reminds me of like Tom Brady when he was with the Patriots.
Yeah. Well, but Brady was at least like professional. You know.
I
Mac-
still didn't like him. I like him honestly. I like him better with the Bucks, and the Bucks are the Saints division rivals.
I've never liked Brady that much either, but I think he's professional. I think Mac Jones is like immature, honestly.
Yeah.
The way, like the stuff he does on the field and off it, Mr. DUI. Remember that? Yeah. He was crying in his mugshot. That was pretty cool.
He was?
Yeah.
Oh, what a pussy.
Some other news is in college football, but my cousin is the oldest active FBS player in college football at 32.
Your cousin?
Tom Hutton,
Ooh.
Oklahoma State's punter. He's not really my cousin, but we do share the same last name, so that's pretty cool.
There was a guy, his son was on the team. This was a few years back at South Carolina State. But it went viral because he was 58 years old and he walked onto the team as a running back at an FCS school. And he got a carry in a game. I mean, it was kind of just for show.
Yeah.
But he still got a carry in a game. Like, he got 4 yards, I think.
4 yards a carry.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, 58. he looked old.
Like, did he look good though? Like when he was.
I mean, he looked like he was 58.
Yeah, I saw the video. He looked a little shriveled.
He looked a little shriveled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he was in good shape though. Obviously,
Yeah.
like he had been training for it, so
Yeah.
that was good.
When he actually ran, he didn't look like that far off from, you know, a low-end college player. So,
Yeah.
Well, just a random question: who y'all think's gonna be comeback player of the year?
Christian McCaffrey.
There's a lot of guys in there. I mean, I know, like, obviously we have Jameis and Michael Thomas who can both be in the running for it. I mean, McCaffrey, yeah.
But who's your if you had to pick one, who would it be?
Yeah, you know, maybe Baker. I feel like Baker could get it. I mean, he didn't, like, really miss games or anything last year, but he had a bad year. And, I mean, everybody knows the story.
Yeah.
And I almost feel like the NFL, if he has a good season, would give him that award to take off the pressure from the Deshaun situation.
Yeah, maybe so.
Because they're getting backlash for letting that happen, too. So I could
think
see
the-
Baker winning it.
I think the funniest timeline would be to give Deshaun comeback player of the year in his 6 or 7 games that he plays.
Yeah.
Just give him it.
Yeah.
So what are the qualifications for comeback player of the year? Like what is it?
I don't think there's like any real like qualifications. It's kind of like, I mean, a lot of the times it'll go to like a player that was injured for like most of the year or all of the year before. But
They've had situations in the past, like I'm thinking of Kurt Warner. He was on the a lot of people forget this, but after winning like 2 MVPs and 2 Super Bowls or whatever with the Rams, he had a couple bad years and he went to the Giants as a backup. And then after that, he went to the Cardinals and he won comeback player of the year. So it could be like a guy like that right now is Trubisky. I mean, he didn't win MVP or anything, but he was a starter. So I could see Trubisky going from starter to being a backup in Buffalo to having a decent year, as long as he can keep Pickett off of him, to having a decent year and winning comeback player of the year.
yeah,
That could happen too.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah. I think the safest bet though is probably McCaffrey. I mean, if he just doesn't get injured and plays like he usually does, then I wouldn't see why he wouldn't get it. But there's a few candidates this year for sure.
You know, I could see even maybe like Derrick Henry, after getting injured, even though he had like 1,000 yards already.
Yeah.
But that was in like 9 games, so
Yeah, he was going to break 2,000 for sure.
yeah.
for sure. Well, I guess that concludes it for our third podcast. Just tune in for for the next one, it'll probably be after these Sunday games, these college games. I assume
Yeah.
probably
Our
sometime
next one
week,
we can update week 1.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll be
Yeah.
going into NFL week 1. After this
give
week,
some
so-
predictions.
Yeah.
And for our listeners, you could always comment and email us or whatever it may be on some suggestions if you want to hear any certain topics.
Yeah. Basically on everything too. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, everything.
Just call on your bluff. You should be able to find it real easy.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Peace out.
Later.